What's going on in the big old world today, people? I'm going to bring you the latest and greatest, like I always do. And I am going to bring you facts and data. And today we're going to go over a FOIA report from the Illinois State Fire Marshal for the Carus chemical fire that happened on 1/11/2023. The final report 523. This is a FOIA request. This is a request I made to the fire marshal. And basically what I'm asking for is the following documentation in respectively to the request in relation to the fire that occurred at Carus Chemical, 1500 8th Street, LaSalle, Illinois, January 11th, 2023. Provide a copy of any and all video and or data recordings related in any manner to the fire that occurred on that date. Any final reports on the cause as well, any inspections made in 2022. They have 5 business days to respond back to you, and you can do this with any agency. It's real easy. If you're looking for municipalities, you just type in your city, type in FOIA in the search, and it will bring you there, along with EPA sites, pretty much any government sites. FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, people, very important, as that are stated on there. Again, this is the final report from the on-scene fire marshal. I'm giving you a short version. I've given the long version on a previous video. It's going to give you your jurisdictions, your investigation is closed, your start time, your city, your place of where it happened. Area of origin, device placement, area of origin, storage areas, area of origin subtype, shipping, receiving area, loading dock, dock of bay, fire deceptors, arcs and sparks, damage and casualties, and primarily government associates and no government associates. It is believed the fire is a result of a combination of events that occurred after an incident involving the packaged product, potassium permanganate. The packaging of the product was damaged in transit while loading. In events that occurred after this spill was handled, ended up with a rapidly spread fire originating in the warehouse and the loading dock area. Potassium permanganate is an oxidant recommended for applications that require a strong oxidizer or oxidant. Same thing. The product this company handles is used to treat drinking water, wastewater, and industrial chemicals. It is sold and shipped globally. That means Carus Chemical controls the market of this product. We are the casualty for clean water. Carus estimate that there was more than 1 million pounds of potassium permanganate that was destroyed as a result of the fire. For people that don't know, this is in LaSalle, Illinois. This fire occurred and this raw product landed in the 3rd and 4th wards of our town. Our mayors and most of our aldermen could care less. We've been neglected by every government official, state reps, EPA, USNI, Illinois, Health Department, and so on. Now, Andy started, he's the CEO. He stated the building is sprinklered throughout and that there is no cooling system in the warehouse, but there are 4 suspended heaters that have not had any issues reported. Andy estimated the last fire that occurred at the facility was approximately 10 years ago and was minimal compared to this incident. The citizens of LaSalle do not know nothing about a fire 10 years ago. I've been here for 25 years. This is the first fire I've ever heard of. So we have to do a little more digging on that. And that involves just going and filing another FOIA through another agency, such as LaSalle Police Department or Fire Department. The following is a summary of the information Paula is a worker. Um, she's been there a long time, I think 36 years. She provided in her interviews she works in the shipping and receiving and maintains the warehouse. Part of her job includes operating a propane-fueled fork truck used to load trucks and move loads of product consisting of potassium permanganate. The product is packaged in numerous types of containers: drums, buckets, barrels, super sacks, and cycle bins. Loading one semi-truck that was backed into the loading area with super sacks, there was a total of 19 super sacks to complete the load, and there they were down to 4. Paula advised one bag of the potassium permanganate was damaged in transport by the prongs of the forklift she was operating. The leak in the bag was noticed, and she and Kathleen patched the ripped bag with a patch made from tie guard to patch and stop the leak. The affected bag was located towards the bottom center of the pallet. Paula explained Kathleen cut a patch from the tape and applied it to the affected area. The pallet was placed on a sheet of cardboard, and Paula had to raise the pallet for access to the patch to patch the affected bag. Once the patch was applied to the damaged bag and it appeared the leak of the product was sealed, the pallet was placed on a sheet of board along with a bucket, and a spilled product was swept up and placed in. Paula continued to move the affected product by pushing it across the concrete floor to a different location in the dock area. Paula explained she had placed the damaged pallet, and then as she was driving the forklift away, she heard Kathleen yell "fire" and saw smoke coming from the area where she just had placed the affected pallet. Paula advised the little plume of smoke quickly grew into flames in a short amount of time, and the smoke color darkened from a light grayish color quickly changed to a dark color of gray. Paula ran to get to a phone to call 911 and announced on the intercom there was a fire and for everyone to get out. Paula said this was not the first time there had been a rip in a bag, and they have always repaired the tear in the bags using the same tie guard product for patching. Paula advised the product is very flammable under certain circumstances. Paula said they have never had to use a fire extinguisher for any previous leaks once bags have been penetrated or sliced open. The hole was always patched and work continued. This testimony is from a Carus employee, Kathleen. She's been there for 17 years. As previous noted, she's a shipping clerk and a 17-year employee. In the process of loading a truck with super sacks of potassium permanganate, a prong of a forklift being operated by Paula penetrated a bag, causing the product to leak onto the concrete floor. Paula said the same type of slice occurred yesterday without incident to the pallet. Kathleen placed a white rag in the hole that comes in a box to stop the leak of the product spilling onto the floor. She grabbed some tie guard tape to patch the hole like they do every other time there is a leak. The corrugated cardboard for the pallet to be placed on after affixing the tape to the hole. The spill of the product was swept up and placed into a plastic bucket, which was also located on the board, which is the corrugated cardboard. Kathleen said Paula pushed the board with the pallet and the bucket on it over towards another part of the building so they could continue with loading the remainder of the truck when she saw smoke coming from the moved pallet. Kathleen yelled "fire" and for help. Rudy, a contracted employee from Staffing Solutions, was right next to a roll of pails full of product in an area that a fire extinguisher was located. He was the closest employee other than she and Paula when the incident occurred. She said Paula ran to the intercom system to report fire. Rudy ran by her with a fire extinguisher in hand, and there was an issue at getting the pin out to activate the fire extinguisher. Kathleen couldn't recall if the sprinkler system activated or if it was flowing when the smoke and the fire grew, but recalled when she exited the building, she was dry. Sprinkler supplier is Tri-State, and there's her phone number. Somebody's slacking there. Kathleen stated the smoke was visible while the pallet was being pushed across the floor, and the amount of smoke grew as Paula pulled away from leaving the pallet in another location. Kathleen said she believed the pallets the product is stored on is constructed of heat-treated wood held together with nails. Corey Peruba, director of EHSS, also a Carus Chemical employee, advised he had footage on his cell phone from the security cameras in the warehouse that captured the incident. At the present time, he was unable to download the footage and provide a copy of it, but those in the room were able to view it on his phone. Corey advised he would work on scheduling footage and download it for distribution purposes to the on-site fire marshal. And this here would be their final report. Now I want to go back. Corey Peruba is he works for Carus. He's been there a long time. He is like a head guy. This is the final report from the fire marshal, and it says, based on the information provided through the video footage evidence, I want to say that Carus Chemical kind of drugged their feet on giving the fire marshal this video so they could complete this this report. But anyway, based on the interviews of the employees present when the product in transit was damaged and leaked, and those who were present when the fire started and was reported, information obtained from upper management of Carus, information obtained through the MDS material safety data sheets, and information provided by LaSalle Fire Department, it has been determined the fire is no criminal involvement. There is no criminal involvement associated with the fire. Due to the fire scene being a hazmat situation, entry into the area of origin was not possible. The cause of the fire is being classified as undetermined in nature with no criminal activity suspected. The Carus Chemical had released a statement stating that a super sack was moved, friction caused by a fork truck dragging the supported pallet likely ignited the material that was located under the pallet. Okay, that is not what they said. They claimed there was a faulty super sack with a tear in it. Said nothing about anybody poking a forklift fork through a bag, and that is common practice apparently at Carus Chemical, which is pretty damn sad.
Well, this had the best and most complete description of the incident and cause of the fire. Thanks for sharing. At my facility in MT Clemens, we managed millions of gallons of flammable/combustible liquids we used and moved through our facility every day. We also managed millions of pounds of pigments and powder products, including flammable solids and oxidizers. We had an on-site fire brigade, and if any release occurred, liquid or solid, the area where it happened was required to contact the fire brigade to approach and mitigate the release before area people could clean it up. Our warehouse personnel were never allowed and weren't qualified to do what these operators did because they were not trained in the hazards of the materials they were cleaning up. At least that would be the expectation unless Carus trained their warehouse personnel on the hazards of everything that they would have handled. And so, under HAZWOPER rules, they could not and should not respond to such a release. This is what Eric was trying to explain at the Carus Town Hall meeting. Carus should have to prove to someone, preferably OSHA, maybe their third-party inspectors, that the two responding to the release were properly trained and that the safety systems and emergency plans in place provided the appropriate actions and directions for these personnel on what to do and how to properly clean up the spill. For example, I think that the SDS states that floor dry must be used when sweeping up the product. It seems a small thing, but floor dry is usually oil-based and would have made a difference if it had been used, because it would have been mixed in with what they swept up and would not have been pure product on that cardboard/pallet. They also never should have dragged the cardboard or pallet across the floor for risk of a spark. Despite what Carus says, potassium permanganate is a flammable solid and the spark from dragging it across the floor was all that was needed to start the fire.